Usually when we talk about a medical diagnosis, there's this expectation of absolute precision.
Right, like it's a binary thing.
Exactly. It feels like engineering almost. You break your arm, the x-ray shows that jagged white line, and the doctor just points at the film and says, well, there it is.
It's incredibly comforting, honestly. We like things to be visible.
We really do.
We like our problems to be neatly categorized so we can, just fix them.
But imagine stepping into a scenario where that x-ray machine is completely blind.
Oh, man, yeah.
Where the disease isn't just rare, but like entirely alien to Earth's biology. And standard medicine has absolutely no idea what it's even looking at.
Which is a terrifying thought.
Truly. And that is exactly the scenario we're unpacking today. We are doing a deep dive into the 2026 sci-fi novel Signal Across the Void by Dr. Siv Aram.
Such a fantastic book.
It really is. And our mission today isn't just to recap the plot. We want to dissect the brilliant synthetic biology at the heart of the story.
Right, the actual science of it.
Exactly. We're going to look at how this microscopic diagnostic tool and a seemingly frustrating delay in a text message basically become the only thing standing between humanity and total extinction.
It's a remarkable piece of hard sci-fi, mostly because, the science doesn't just serve the plot. It actually is the plot.
Yeah.
But before we get into the global catastrophe stuff, we kind of need to understand the playing field.
Set the stage for us.
Right. So the narrative hinges entirely on the literal physical distance separating our two main characters.
Okay, so let's introduce them for you. We have Dr. Jax Carver. He is a NASA flight surgeon, and he's currently stationed on the moon.
Right, at the Artemis Heights Resort.
Yeah, right on the rim of Shackleton Crater. And he went up there for the frontier aspect, but the reality is he's dealing with high-yield tourists.
It's a bit of a letdown for him.
Totally. He's essentially playing high-end concierge doctor for billionaires who are having panic attacks in low gravity.
And then on the flip side, 240,000 miles away, we have his former partner.
Dr. Elena Vance.
Exactly. She is this brilliant synthetic biologist stationed at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. She chose the gravity of Earth.
She wanted the stability.
Yeah, she wanted the Montrose brownstone, the stability of her Houston lab. And that fundamental disagreement over their careers, where they wanted to be, is what split them up.
And it's not just a physical space between them, right? Because they're separated by 250,000 miles, they are bound by the laws of physics.
Yeah, specifically a 1.3-second latency.
The light delay.
Right. It inserts this forced, incredibly awkward pause into every single video call they have.
It's such a brilliant narrative device. It's like Aram weaponizes physics against their emotions.
That's a great way to put it. Because radio waves take time to travel. That means every reaction is delayed.
Oh, I'd hate that.
I mean, imagine you're on a call and you tell a joke. Or worse, you deliver a piece of bad news. You speak, and then you have to sit in complete silence for 1.3 seconds.
Just staring at the screen.
Yeah, watching the other person's face, waiting for your words to actually hit their ears. It acts as a wedge, just this constant reminder of the distance.
It's agonizing just picturing it. But there is one other crucial element sitting between them, which is a piece of technology Elena actually designed.
The M phone.
Right, or the telediagnostic unit version 4.2, if we're being official. Now, when I first read about this, my mind went straight to, a Star Trek tricorder.
Okay.
But it's actually much more grounded than that. I like to think of it as basically a microscopic spell checker for human biology.
That is the perfect way to visualize it.
Because it doesn't work like a normal blood test. You just put a single drop of blood or interstitial fluid into this tiny microfluidic port.
Right. And inside, there's this 3-centimeter grid containing 10,000 engineered protein biosensors.
10,000? That's insane.
Yeah, it's incredibly dense. And it uses ultraviolet and diode lasers, specifically 365 nanometer and 488 nanometer, to instantly quantify binding ratios.
And the real kicker for me is that it does all of this without any reagents.
Which is huge.
Right, because if I'm understanding the chemistry correctly, it means it's basically just using pure light to read the sample, like scanning a barcode instead of doing a chemical reaction.
Exactly. And that is why it is considered the absolute holy grail of off-world medicine.
Because you don't need the chemicals.
Right. Elena built this device for Mars. She designed it for deep space, for places where you have a 20-minute radio delay and absolutely no hospital lab.
Yeah.
Think about standard medical tests here on Earth. They require reagents. Those are the liquid chemicals that react with your blood to actually show a result.
Oh, right, like the liquid in a COVID test that changes color.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
But in space, you can't lug around bulky chemical storage.
Why not? Wait.
Weight is part of it. But also, liquids behave unpredictably in microgravity. They have expiration dates, they get contaminated easily. The M-phone eliminates all of that.
So it just reads the light?
Yeah, the biosensors in the grid physically bind to abnormal peptides in the blood, and the lasers instantly read the fluorescence of that physical bond. It's rugged, it's instantaneous, and it requires zero chemical mixing.
Which makes it so deeply ironic that Jax is using Elena's absolute masterpiece of deep space engineering to, like, treat a hedge fund billionaire's motion sickness on a luxury lunar resort.
Oh, it's got to be infuriating for her.
Totally. But this theoretical capability, this miracle tech, is about to get the ultimate stress test.
It's like a crawler incident.
Exactly. Jax responds to an emergency in a lunar crawler, excursion vehicle Alpha 4. A passenger named Arthur Pendleton is dying. His muscles are going rigid, his eyes are turning red, and he has these dark, web-like patterns spreading under his skin.
And this is where that blind X-ray analogy really comes into play.
Right.
The crawler's standard medical sensors are throwing completely useless errors. The pulse oximeter literally just reads, unrecognized hemoglobin absorption.
It just doesn't know what it's seeing.
Standard terrestrial medicine is completely blind to what is happening inside this man's body.
So Jax pulls out the M-phone. He expects to see, I don't know, a standard histamine flare, maybe a severe allergic reaction to lunar dust.
Sure, something normal.
But instead, the device detects a massive 94.2% binding ratio with fluorescence peaks at 520 and 680 nanometers. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the spectrum of light, 520 and 680, that's green and deep red, right?
Yes.
So the machine is literally flashing these very specific, completely unearthly optical signatures.
Precisely. It's reading the optical signature of biological structure that simply shouldn't exist.
Wow.
Elena is watching this output in real time back in Houston, and she realizes instantly that this protein structure is non-terrestrial. The amino acid backbones are made of non-canonical D-amino acids.
Okay, let's break that down for the listener. D-amino acids, I remember from high school biology that proteins are made of amino acids, but what makes them non-canonical or, D? Is this a handedness thing?
It is entirely a handedness thing, also known as chirality. All life on Earth, every plant, animal, and bacteria, uses exclusively left-handed amino acids to build proteins. It's a fundamental rule of terrestrial biology.
Right.
But the pathogen the M-phone is detecting, it uses right-handed amino acids. It's essentially a mirror image.
Ah, so that's why standard Earth sensors couldn't read it.
Exactly.
It's like trying to put your left hand into a right-handed glove. Our cellular sensors, our enzymes, they literally can't grip this pathogen because it's built completely backwards.
Right.
But wait, if this alien pathogen is so lethal and it's built so differently, why is it bothering to bind to human receptors at all?
That's a great question.
I mean, a standard poison just destroys tissue, right?
Yeah.
Why go through the complex trouble of actually rewriting the host?
And that is the truly terrifying part of this biology.
Right.
It's an adaptive mechanism. A poison is finite. It runs its course and dissipates. Sure. This pathogen uses human cellular machinery as scaffolding. Because it's a mirror image, human enzymes can't break it down. But the pathogen can use our raw materials to build new, self-assembling peptide chains.
Oh, wow.
It literally turns the human host into an incubator to replicate itself.
That is deeply unsettling. It's not an infection. It's a hostile takeover of the biological factory.
It's colonizing the biology from the inside out. And to make matters worse, this isn't just an isolated incident on the moon. Simultaneously, Earth is attacked.
Yeah, the scene is incredibly cinematic. Jax looks out the window of the lunar shuttle and he sees this pale green light spreading through the troposphere across Earth's night side.
Just a terrifying visual.
Oh, it gave me chills. Thousands of pods have entered the atmosphere, aerosolizing the pathogen globally. It's just this striking image. The pathogen is everywhere all at once, and because it's built out of these right-handed D-amino acids, global health networks are totally helpless.
Which forces a radical shift in the story's structure. The science basically has to move faster than the plot.
Right, because Earth is rapidly being overrun. But up on the moon, Artemis Heights seals its domes. And this quarantine creates a controlled environment for our two separated scientists to actually try and test a cure.
So Jax switches the M-phone into triage mode in Dome 3. He's testing over 200 people in seconds.
It's so fast.
Yeah, just a drop of blood, a flash of the ultraviolet laser, and he gets a result in 5 seconds. 38 people come back positive.
And they don't even know it.
Right, they're totally asymptomatic, just ticking time bombs, and they immediately get isolated in Bay 4.
Meanwhile, back in Houston, society is essentially crumbling. Elena is barricaded in a failing sub-basement at Johnson Space Center.
The contrast there is wild.
It is. And she takes the raw fluorescence data that Jax streamed to her from the moon, and she back-translates that optical binding map into an mRNA sequence. She designs a competitive inhibitor.
Right, a decoy peptide.
Which I'm assuming acts kind of like a molecular sponge.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. It's a synthetic protein she designs to mimic human receptors, but it has a 10 times higher binding affinity.
Okay, so it pulls them away.
Exactly. The idea is that it acts as bait. It pulls the alien peptides in, locks them into an inert complex, and neutralizes them before they can trigger metabolic shock in the patient.
Okay, so Elena transmits this digital blueprint up to the moon. Jax prints a 10 milliliter solution of this decoy using the resort's Trauma Bay peptide printer, and he injects it into Arthur Pendleton's widow, who is rapidly showing symptoms at this point.
And it works. Briefly.
Yeah, for 90 seconds, it is an absolute miracle. Her heart rate drops from 180 down to 95. The dark web patterns on her skin fade, but then the binding drops, the decoy fails, and she just starts dying again.
Because biology, especially alien biology, refuses to be static. The failure of that decoy introduces a massive scientific hurdle, which is conformational drift.
Conformational drift. Okay, let me see if I'm visualizing this correctly. Is it like a padlock where the internal tumblers suddenly change shape?
Yes.
Because Elena engineered this perfect key for the lock she saw in the initial scan, but then the physical shape of the lock just warped.
That is exactly what happens. Proteins fold based on their environment.
Oh, of course.
On the moon, you are dealing with a fraction of Earth's gravity. In that low-gravity environment, the pathogen structure actually changes. Its hinge region mutates.
So the key doesn't fit anymore.
Right. Because the decoy was designed for the exact geometry of the original Earth-based scan, the moment the pathogen shape drifted, the decoy was shed. The pathogen simply adapted to the new environment and discarded the lock entirely.
That is so frustrating. I mean, if you've ever dealt with the cybersecurity protocol at work where, like, the passwords and the authenticator rules keep changing every time you try to log in, this is the terrifying biological version of that.
It really is.
To build a permanent, unbreakable lock, you can't just use a mutated copy. You need the original, unchanging blueprint. The progenitor sequence.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Elena realizes that the sample Jax initially scanned had already been reshaped by the human host's enzymes and the lunar gravity.
Right.
To neutralize the apex strain, she needs a pure sample of the vector from before it ever touched human biology.
And this scientific necessity forces Jax out of the safety of the sealed dome. He has to take the Ares 4 rover out to Shackleton Crater, where the temperature is, 210 degrees below zero?
It's brutal.
Yeah, and he has to find an unruptured alien payload spire that slammed into the lunar ice.
The visual contrast in this section is spectacular. You have Elena in this humid, dark, failing basement in Texas with alien entities literally scraping at the steel door.
Oh, the tension is insane.
And then Jax is out in the absolute freezing, silent vacuum of the lunar South Pole.
It's so intense. So Jax finds the spire. He manages to extract a pure sample, batch 10A. He runs it through the M-phone. And this time, the optical reading isn't erratic or mutated.
It's perfect.
Right. It reveals this clean, perfectly symmetrical grid of cyan and ultraviolet light. It is the unmutated hinge region, the master blueprint of the alien biology.
But the environment refuses to cooperate. The heat from the alien spire triggers a subsurface volatile explosion in the ancient lunar ice.
Jax just gets thrown backward. He tumbles down the sheer wall of the crater. His rover is completely destroyed. He lands at the bottom in the dark, and his suit is leaking oxygen. He has exactly 18 minutes of air left.
And this is where all the thematic elements of the book finally converge. Before he accepts his fate, he hits transmit. He sends that pure progenitor map across the void to Elena.
And then he apologizes to her.
Yeah.
He admits that he ran to the moon because he felt invisible next to her brilliance. He's literally ready to die. But this is where that 1.3-second delay, which had been this constant symbol of their emotional distance, it flips entirely. It suddenly becomes his absolute lifeline.
Because Elena refuses to let him give up.
I loved this part.
She uses her remote access from Houston to take direct control of his M-phone. She bypasses his broken suit telemetry entirely. She locates an abandoned Apollo-era ice mining airlock about 900 meters away from his position in the dark.
Talk about a needle in a haystack.
Seriously. She overrides the ancient door codes, and she projects a glowing green directional arrow right onto his cracked M-phone screen.
while aliens are literally breaking down her door in Houston, she physically and emotionally guides his desperate climb up that crater wall.
And because of the 1.3-second delay, every word of encouragement, every direction she gives him, takes that agonizing pause to reach him.
But it's no longer a wedge. She tells him, I'm right here on the other end of this line and I am not letting go. The delay is basically the tether holding him to life.
And it works. He makes it to the airlock with almost zero oxygen, the ancient gears grind open, and he survives.
Which allows Elena to finally focus on the spectacular counteroffensive on Earth. Because while Jax was climbing, she was using that pure sequence he sent to synthesize the master key.
Right.
Now, earlier we talked about the decoy peptide, which was basically just a sponge meant to hide the host from the pathogen. But the master key is something else entirely.
It is.
You mentioned earlier it's a macrocyclic counterpeptide. Macrocyclic meaning it's a loop, like a closed ring.
Yes, and because it is a closed ring, it is incredibly stable and under immense molecular tension.
Okay, so what does that actually do?
Well, imagine a microscopic bear trap. It doesn't just sponge up the alien protein. When this master key locks onto the alien's pure hinge region, the geometric precision is so perfect and the bond is so aggressive that the trap snaps shut.
Wow.
It traps kinetic energy and releases it all at once, physically shattering the alien backbones. It turns the foreign biology into inert dust.
That is wild. It's not just blocking the signal, it's actively breaking the antenna.
Exactly. But the problem is she has to deploy this cure while under actual physical siege. Pale, jointed alien entities have breached her building in Houston.
Yeah, they're in the lobby.
Right. She has this 500 milliliter seed solution of the master key, and she has to get it to 4 high-altitude weather drones sitting on the launch pad outside.
The stakes are incredibly high here. She literally shoots her way through the shattered marble lobby of the Johnson Space Center and manually overrides the launch bay, sending these drones 35,000 feet up into the jet stream.
And the atmospheric dispersion of this master key is where the hard science and the cinematic visuals just perfectly align.
Yes. Oh, I was reading this part just glued to the page.
That's beautiful.
These drones aerosolize the master key into the jet stream, and as it interacts with the alien pathogen in the sky, it triggers a chain reaction. The sky over Houston goes from this sickly, terrifying green to a shimmering electric blue aurora that spreads globally at 200 miles an hour.
The true brilliance of Elena's solution is that the cure was designed to be exactly as adaptive as the disease.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the pathogen used an aerosol network in the atmosphere to spread and conquer, right?
Yeah.
The master key hijacked that exact same alien aerosol network, using it as fuel to propagate its own neutralization. The reaction becomes entirely self-sustaining.
It literally turns the weapon into the cure.
Yes.
And on the ground, the infected patients immediately stabilize as the master key filters down. And those terrifying alien entities in the lobby, cut off from their atmospheric reservoir, their engineered structures just unravel. They disintegrate into gray ash right there on the floor.
It is a total systemic collapse of the alien biology, driven by the exact same mechanism it used to attack.
And it works universally. Up on the moon, the monitors in the quarantine ward flip from red to green. The outbreak is terminated.
Just like that.
Which brings us to the resolution of the book. Jax returns to Earth on an evacuation shuttle. He steps off the ramp onto the sunlit tarmac in Houston. The air is warm and humid, and Elena is standing right there waiting for him.
Just a great payoff.
After months of sterile, recycled lunar air and, 3 days of absolute terror, they are finally breathing the same atmosphere.
And the book gives us this incredible, subtle moment with the technology to wrap it all up.
Yes, this part is so good. Jax looks down at his battered crack M phone. It runs a final diagnostic summary, and the screen simply reads, "Distance to target, 0.000 meters."
The 1.3-second delay is completely gone.
Completely gone. And Jax says something so profound here. He tells her the delay didn't save them, it just kept the line open so they could save each other.
It's a really powerful realization that technology didn't fix their relationship. The sheer, deliberate effort of communicating across that massive gap is what fixed it.
Which leaves you with a lingering thought. In our modern world, we pride ourselves on zero delay. Instant communication.
Oh, absolutely.
We have texting, video calls, instantaneous global reach. We get incredibly frustrated if a web page takes 3 seconds to load, or if a text bubble hovers just a little too long.
I know I do.
Right. But in this story, the forced 1.3-second gap made Jax and Elena listen more carefully. It made them speak more deliberately.
It stripped away all the rapid-fire noise.
Exactly. And ultimately made them realize what they actually meant to each other. So you have to ask yourself, are our frictionless, zero-delay communication tools actually making us worse at connecting when it really matters?
That is exactly the kind of question a story like this is meant to leave you with.
Something for you to mull over the next time you're staring at your phone, waiting for that little typing bubble to turn into a text. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Signal Across the Void. We'll catch you on the next one.